My boyfriend's childhood best friend gave me a handmade silk dress as a first meeting gift. No sooner had I put it on than my skin prickled and burned like fire. A trip to the doctor confirmed it was an allergic reaction to poison ivy sap on the fabric. Seeing my miserable state, Lila cowered in Ethan's arms, feigning terror. Eleanor, your face and neck are covered in blisters. It's terrifying. After I was discharged from the hospital, my supervisor asked me to send him the project proposal. I opened my computer only to find it had been completely formatted. Panicked, I asked Ethan, who had touched my computer while I was in the hospital. Lila needed to make a resume for her job search, so I lent her your computer, he said. I demanded to know how he could give my computer to her without my permission, formatting it and losing all my important files. Ethan brushed it off casually. Just ask the IT department to recover it. It's not that big of a deal. Furious, I broke up with him, but I never expected that Lila would then repeatedly use my address to order luxury goods online. After receiving the packages, she would swap the real items with fakes and request refunds. When the stores discovered the fraud, they filed complaints against the delivery driver, who was hit with a massive fine. Enraged, the driver broke into my apartment and slashed my face. In the aftermath, Ethan tried to clear Lila's name by giving false testimony, claiming I was the one who scammed the stores with fake returns. I lost my job and was driven to suicide by online harassment. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day Lila Reed, Ethan's childhood best friend, had come to stay with him. Eleanor, this dress was made especially for you by my mom. Try it on and see if it fits. If not, I'll send it back so she can alter it. I stared at the smiling girl in front of me, my lips parted slightly in disbelief. When Ethan saw I hadn't responded for ages, he nudged me with his elbow, his voice tinged with impatience. Why aren't you saying anything? Lila's mom is the most famous tailor back home. This handmade dress cost at least 4 figures. The scene was exactly the same as in my past life. Realizing I had been reborn, I pushed down my emotions and smiled. Thank you so much, Layla. The fabric looks absolutely beautiful. I paused, dabbing at an imaginary bead of sweat on my forehead. But I'm all sweaty right now. I don't want to get it dirty. I'll try it on tonight after I shower. Layla nodded, her smile still innocent and harmless. That evening, we had dinner at Lila's newly rented apartment. She bustled around the kitchen, making a table full of home-cooked meals. Ethan, Eleanor, please eat more, she kept saying. If I hadn't suffered through the horrors of my past life, I would never have believed this sweet, thoughtful girl was capable of such malice. After dinner, Ethan and I walked downstairs to our apartment. When we reached the door, I took his arm gently. Ethan, you were saying how your director is always picking on you, right? He sighed, looking frustrated. Tell me about it. She finds fault with everything I do. I'm going crazy. I smiled warmly. Look at this dress Lila gave me. It's custom made. The fabric is beautiful, and it looks so elegant. Why don't you give it to your director? Maybe she'll go easier on you once she sees this custom piece. Ethan thought for a moment and nodded eagerly. That's a great idea. He took the dress bag and headed back to his apartment, grinning. The next morning, Ethan nervously knocked on Ms. Lydia Brooks' office door. His director was a 40-something woman with a sharp temper and high standards. She looked up from her papers as he entered. What is it? She asked flatly. Ethan smiled obsequiously, holding out the dress. Ms. Brooks, I got you a little something. It's a handmade silk dress. I heard you love elegant silk dresses, so I thought you might like it. Ms. Brooks put down her files and looked at the dress. Pleased with the style, she took it from him, running her fingers over the fabric. Her stern expression softened. This is lovely. Thank you. I'll be sure to give you more guidance at work so you don't keep making mistakes. Ethan bowed repeatedly. Thank you, Ms. Brooks. I'll work harder, I promise. He practically skipped out of the office, overjoyed. He had no idea disaster was about to strike. During her lunch break, Ms. Brooks tried on the dress in her office, but no sooner had she slipped it on than she felt an unbearable stinging all over her body. Like thousands of ants biting into her skin, she winced in agony. Terrified, she tore off the dress and picked up the phone, screaming at Ethan. Ethan Carter, Get in here immediately. What the hell is this dress you gave me? My skin is on fire. Take me to the hospital now. Ethan had been expecting good news, not a tongue lashing. His heart sank, and he rushed Ms. Brooks to the emergency room. The doctor confirmed it was a severe allergic reaction to poison ivy sap on the dress. Ms. Brooks was livid. She screamed at Ethan, "You ungrateful bastard. I'm hard on you because I want you to succeed, and this is how you repay me. I'm calling the police on you, you son of a bitch." Desperate to keep his job, Ethan paid all the medical bills up front and gave Ms. Brooks an additional $3,000 in compensation. He apologized profusely until she finally calmed down. That night, Ethan banged furiously on my door. When I opened it, he snarled, "Eleanor Bennett, that was the worst idea you've ever had. You've ruined me." He ranted about everything that had happened that day. I laughed inwardly, but put on a look of shock. My eyes welled up with tears, and I spoke in a hurt, innocent voice. "How could that happen? The dress looked so nice. How could it cause an allergic reaction? Are you sure your director isn't just picking on you and trying to extort money?" Ethan gritted his teeth. "Impossible. I took her to the hospital myself. The doctor said it was poison ivy sap on the dress. Do you think the doctor would lie?" I lowered my eyes, my voice trembling. "But, you took the dress from me right after Lila gave it to me. Did you accidentally get poison ivy on it somewhere?" Ethan froze, frowning as he thought back. He went through all his coworkers he had problems with, growing angrier by the second. Finally, he slammed his fist on the table, as if he'd just realized something, and stormed upstairs to Lila's apartment. Lila's rented apartment was right above ours. Watching his face contorted with rage, I felt a surge of satisfaction. I followed him, eager to watch the show. Ethan banged loudly on Lila's door. "Layla, open up." The door opened quickly. Lila was wearing light-colored pajamas, and she looked confused when she saw how angry he was. "Ethan, what's wrong? Was that dress you gave Eleanor covered in poison ivy sap?" he demanded. Lila thought I had been the one to get hurt, so she put on her usual innocent act. "Oh no, Ethan. My mom was working on a custom furniture order while she was making the dress. Maybe some sap got on it by accident. I'm so sorry," she wailed. Ethan's face turned black with rage. "Layla, are you an idiot? Why didn't you tell us the dress had poison ivy on it?" Lila jumped at his shout, trembling. "But Ethan, you said I was your most important sister. How can you yell at me like that for Eleanor?" she cried. Ethan's face turned red, and he opened his mouth to speak but couldn't find the words. I stepped forward, speaking calmly. "Layla, don't misunderstand. Ethan isn't mad at you for me. That dress you gave me gave Ethan's director a severe allergic reaction. Ethan had to pay all her medical bills and give her $3,000 just to keep his job." Lila gasped, her eyes wide. Her fake tears dried up instantly. "What, Eleanor? How could you give my gift to Ethan's director? That's so rude." I smiled faintly. "Luckily I gave it away, or I'd be the one in the hospital today." "Layla, you need to be more careful with gifts next time. This time you hurt Ethan, and he'll forgive you because you've been friends since childhood. But if you hurt someone else, it won't be so easy to brush off." Lila's lips turned white. She grabbed Ethan's hand, trying to explain, but he pulled away roughly. He turned and stormed downstairs without a backward glance. Ignoring her cries, Lila chased after him, banging on his door. "Ethan, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Please open the door." Her knocking woke the neighbors, who yelled at her for making a scene. After that, Lila stopped looking for a job. Instead, she spent all her time cooking for Ethan, trying to win him back. Within a week, he had forgiven her, and they were back to their overly affectionate childhood sweetheart routine. Early Saturday morning, Ethan knocked on my door. "Eleanor, Lila needs to use a computer to make her resume. Can you lend her yours?" His words brought back the painful memories of my past life like a tidal wave. In my previous life, I'd been hospitalized with the poison ivy allergy, worried about my cat at home. I'd given Ethan the code to my apartment and asked him to take care of her. I never imagined he would take my computer and give it to Lila. When I got home, my supervisor had asked me to send him the project proposal early. I opened my computer, and my blood ran cold. The entire hard drive had been formatted. I'd spent an entire month working on that proposal, conducting multiple field visits and polishing every detail until it was perfect. With the deadline fast approaching, I confronted Ethan in a panic, but he had just shrugged it off. Just ask IT to recover it. It's not a big deal. I rushed the computer to a professional data recovery service, but the technician shook his head sadly. The computer had not only been formatted but also had the operating system reinstalled. All the original data had been overwritten and was gone forever. I missed the deadline, and my guaranteed promotion slipped through my fingers. My supervisor lost all confidence in me, and I was never given another good project. Years of hard work had gone to waste. I pushed down the hatred and smiled warmly. That's too bad. I am just finishing up my project proposal and can't spare my computer. Why don't you lend Lila yours instead? Ethan didn't think twice. Sure. I'll go get it. I stopped him quickly. Let me take it up to her for you. It's early, and she might not be dressed yet. It would be awkward for you to go up there. Okay, thanks, he said, going inside to get his computer. I took it and knocked on Lila's door. She opened it with a bright smile, which faded instantly when she saw it was me. Her tone turned cold. Eleanor, what are you doing here so early? I smiled sweetly, handing her the computer. Here you go. Layla, there are a lot of important files on this computer. Be careful when you use it, and don't delete anything by mistake. Lila took it dismissively. Yeah, I got it. Eleanor. She closed the door, and a malicious grin spread across her face. She turned on the computer and started deleting files randomly. When that was too slow, she formatted the entire hard drive with one click. Smugly, she waited for the process to finish. The next day, she brought the computer downstairs to me. Eleanor, I don't know what happened. The computer just crashed, and when I turned it back on, everything was gone. I took the computer and looked at the empty desktop, barely able to contain my laughter. I feigned shock. Layla, what did you do? I told you not to delete any of the important files. Lila put on her innocent, hurt act. Eleanor, I really didn't mean it. The computer was so slow. I just clicked a few times and this happened. Ethan heard our arguing and came out of his apartment. Layla ran into his arms, sobbing. Ethan, I accidentally deleted Eleanor's files, and she's so mad at me. Please tell her not to be angry. Ethan immediately came to her defense. Lila just graduated. She's still a kid. There's no need to be so petty about this. He stroked her hair soothingly. Don't cry, baby. It's not a big deal. Eleanor won't hold it against you. Lila looked up at me from Ethan's arms, her eyes full of triumphant malice. I smiled faintly. I'm glad you're being so reasonable. Ethan, Lila accidentally formatted your computer and deleted all your work files. I thought you'd be angry, so I said a few harsh words to her out of concern. I didn't realize how generous you are. Ethan's face drained of color instantly, as if he'd been struck by lightning. He pushed Lila away roughly and ran to the computer. The screen lit up, showing an empty desktop. All his work files were gone. He completely lost his temper, pulling at his hair and screaming. Layla, are you fucking stupid? You formatted my entire computer. Layla panicked, stammering. Ethan, it's not my fault. Eleanor told me I could use the computer however I wanted. She said I could delete any files I didn't like. I thought she wanted me to clean it up for her. Ethan believed her instantly. He turned on me, his eyes blazing with rage. Eleanor, you're evil. You knew how important those files were to me, and you tricked Lila into deleting them. I had expected Lila to lie, so I pulled out my phone and played the recording I had made. My voice came through clearly. Layla, there are a lot of important files on this computer. Be careful when you use it, and don't delete anything by mistake. Yeah, I got it. Eleanor, I put my phone away. I've been trying my hand at being a content creator lately, and I accidentally recorded our conversation when I dropped off the computer. Thank goodness I did, or I'd never be able to clear my name. I looked at Lila calmly. Why would you lie about me? Layla, what have I ever done to you? Lila's face turned white. She grabbed Ethan's sleeve, crying harder. Ethan, please believe me. I didn't mean it. The computer was just terrible, and it crashed on its own. Ethan no longer cared about their childhood friendship. All his previous kindness was gone. Blind with rage, he raised his hand and slapped Lila hard across the face, the sound echoing through the hallway. "You stupid bitch. If you can't use a computer, don't touch one. Do you have any idea what you've done?" Lila fell to the floor, screaming. She glared at me with pure hatred. "This is all your fault, Eleanor. I asked to use your computer, not Ethan's. Why did you give me his and not tell me? You did this on purpose." I looked at her with disappointment. "How could you think that, Layla? I was working on my proposal and couldn't let you use my computer, so I gave you Ethan's instead. How was I supposed to know you'd be stupid enough to format the entire hard drive?" I turned and walked into my apartment. Slamming the door behind me, I pressed my ear to the door, listening to Ethan screaming at Lila and her sobbing apologies. A weight lifted off my chest. Ethan's company had strict compliance policies that required all work documents to be retained for 5 years. He constantly needed to access old files for his new projects. With all his data gone, he wouldn't be able to do his job properly, and it was only a matter of time before his boss found out. Ethan stopped yelling at Lila and rushed his computer to a professional data recovery service. The technician examined it thoroughly and shook his head. "I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do. The hard drive was formatted and the operating system was reinstalled. All the original data has been overwritten. It's gone forever." Ethan begged him to try again, offering to pay more. But the technician just repeated that it was impossible. He went to every data recovery shop in town, but they all gave him the same answer. As expected, Ethan was fired from his job. The project he was managing was up for renewal, and the contract was full of complex clauses. Every detail had to be checked against the original contract from 4 years ago. But the employee who'd handled the original project had long since left the company, and the physical contract had never been filed. All the existing documents were on Ethan's computer, which Lila had completely wiped. To make matters worse, Ethan had already angered Mr. Grant, so he couldn't ask him for help. He tried to rewrite the contract from memory, but when he submitted it, Mr. Grant immediately spotted multiple critical errors. He told Ethan to go back and fix it using the original contract. Without the original, Ethan's second draft was just as bad. With the deadline fast approaching, Mr. Grant lost his patience and handed the project to another employee. The new employee asked Ethan for the original contract files, but Ethan had nothing to give him. His negligence was exposed, and the company fired him immediately. A few days later, Ethan came to me, looking miserable. "Eleanor, I got fired. The job market is terrible right now, and I probably won't find something soon. I can't afford my rent anymore. Can I break my lease and move in with you?" I thought about what Lila would do next and smiled. "Sure. Talk to your landlord about breaking your lease first. Once your place is up, you can move in with me." Ethan sighed in relief. "Thank you so much, Eleanor. I'll call my landlord right now." That day, I took half a day off work and came home early. When I got there, there were 4 or 5 beautifully wrapped packages sitting outside my door. In my past life, Lila had used my address for return fraud on luxury goods, which had gotten the delivery driver fined a huge amount of money. Enraged, he'd broken into my apartment and attacked me. This time, they would get what they deserved. I didn't touch the packages. I went inside and waited. Not long after, Lila snuck out of the stairwell. She glanced around nervously to make sure no one was watching, then grabbed all the luxury packages from my doorstep and ran off with them. She gave most of the stolen goods to Ethan as apology gifts. He accepted them gratefully, and his anger toward her faded. With Lila's soft apologies and deliberate flirting, the tension between them crackled. They pulled each other close and kissed passionately, unable to tear themselves apart. When they finally pulled away, Lila rested her head on Ethan's chest, speaking in her sweet, innocent voice. "Ethan, is this wrong? We're keeping this from Eleanor." Ethan kissed her again, his hands roaming her body. "What's wrong about it? It's not the first time we've kissed." Lila giggled, hitting his chest playfully. "Ethan, you're so bad." May 18th day I had been disfigured in my past life finally arrived. I had already moved all my valuables and my cat to my new apartment. The plan was ready to go. I sent Ethan a text. Ethan. Let yourself into my apartment and wait for me. I'll be right back. I have a big surprise for you. Ethan thought I had gotten him the job referral I'd mentioned earlier. He happily let himself into my apartment and waited. The half-hour wait didn't make him suspicious, if anything. It made him more excited for the surprise. Just then, the doorbell rang sharply. He rushed to open it. Grinning, the delivery driver stood outside, his face dark with suppressed rage. Before Ethan could react, the driver slashed a sharp knife across his cheek. The blade cut deep through flesh, and warm blood gushed out instantly, covering half of Ethan's face. Agony exploded through Ethan's body. He grabbed the driver's wrist tightly, his eyes wide with terror and confusion. What the fuck? I've never even seen you before. Why are you doing this? The driver stared at the watch on Ethan's wrist, the same watch Lila had stolen through return fraud that had gotten him fined. His anger boiled over, and he slashed again, leaving another deep cut across Ethan's face. You piece of shit. You love swapping real goods with fakes and scamming stores, don't you? Let's see how you like this. I'll fucking kill you. The searing pain shattered Ethan's resolve. He let out a shrill, desperate scream. Help! Someone help! He's trying to kill me. Neighbors on the same floor heard the screams and frantically called the police. When the police and paramedics arrived, Ethan was barely recognizable. His face had been completely disfigured. When Lila heard the sirens, her first thought wasn't concern, it was glee. She was certain Eleanor had been attacked, and she couldn't wait to run downstairs and gloat. But when she saw the paramedics carrying a blood-soaked Ethan out of Eleanor's apartment, her legs gave out and she collapsed onto the cold floor. How could this happen? She whispered in disbelief. Why wasn't it Eleanor? The police contacted Ethan's parents immediately. Mr. and Mrs. Carter rushed to the hospital, and when the doctor told them Ethan's face was permanently disfigured and would never look the same again, they broke down crying. My baby, what happened to you? Who did this to you? Lila decided to pin the blame entirely on Eleanor. She followed the Carters to the hospital and stirred up trouble. Mr. and Mrs. Carter, you have to get justice for Ethan. This is all Eleanor's fault. The Carters turned to her, their eyes red from crying. What do you mean? What happened to our son? Lila wiped away fake tears, lying through her teeth. It's all because Eleanor is so vain and materialistic. She orders all these expensive luxury things online but doesn't want to pay for them. So she swaps the real ones with fakes and gets refunds. That delivery driver got fined because of her scams, and he was furious. He came after Eleanor. And Ethan got hurt by mistake. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Her twisted lies sent the Carters into a rage. They stormed to the police station to file a report. I had just finished giving my police statement and was walking out of the interview room when they blocked my path, their eyes blazing with anger. You evil bitch. You ruined our son's face. We're going to kill you today. The officers quickly stepped in to hold them back. Layla arrived right behind them, pretending to mediate. Eleanor, if you did something wrong, you need to take responsibility. You've already hurt Ethan so badly, didn't make it worse by lying and upsetting his parents. I hung my head and spoke through tears. Mr. and Mrs. Carter, Layla, I swear I didn't do this. I never ordered any of those luxury things. And I never swapped any fakes for real ones. Someone must have used my address on purpose to frame me. The police are investigating. And when they find out who really hurt Ethan, they'll send them to jail. The investigating officer confirmed my words. We've checked all of Ms. Bennett's shopping accounts, payment records, and shipping information. None of the luxury items that led to this attack were purchased by her. We're working with the online platforms to get the IP addresses and account information from the orders, and we'll have the truth soon. At that, Lila's face turned deathly pale. Her legs buckled, and she could barely stand. Panicked, she made an excuse about feeling sick and fled the police station. But the Carters still stared at me coldly. No matter what. Ethan got hurt in your apartment. You're responsible. You're coming to the hospital with us right now to take care of him. And as soon as he's better, you two are getting married. My voice was cold. I'm just as shocked and scared by what happened to Ethan as you are. But I can't take care of him in the hospital. When they tried to grab me, I pulled away sharply and ran off in my heels. In the hospital room, Ethan woke up and learned he was disfigured. He had a complete breakdown, screaming and thrashing on the bed. Meanwhile, I was moving forward with my life. This time around, I hadn't lost my project proposal. So I'd gotten the promotion I deserved and would be transferring to corporate headquarters soon. The police worked quickly, using the account information from the platforms and the security footage from the apartment building. They traced the orders back to Lila. She was arrested by officers just as she was boarding an Amtrak train. Back at the hospital, Ethan had waited in vain for me to visit. Finally, he called me, his voice sharp with anger. "Eleanor, you're so heartless. I took the hit for you. And you can't even be bothered to come take care of me." My voice was icy. "You're wearing a watch Lila stole through return fraud. And you got attacked by the person she scammed. And you're saying you took the hit for me. Do you even hear how ridiculous that sounds?" When he realized he had no argument, Ethan changed the subject. "It doesn't matter. I'm seriously injured. And you're my girlfriend. You're supposed to take care of me. How can you be so cold and heartless? Do you have no conscience?" I couldn't help but laugh. "You're cheating on me with Lila, and you expect me to take care of you. I should be slapping you, not nursing you back to health." Ethan immediately got defensive, his voice shaky. "That's not true. Lila and I are just friends." I scoffed. "You know damn well it's true. You've been sneaking over to Lila's apartment in the middle of the night. Do you really think I didn't notice?" Ethan raised his voice, still denying it. "Don't be so disgusting. I was just helping her fix her washing machine." I rolled my eyes. "Save that lie for someone who'll believe it. I asked the building manager for the security footage, and I saw you two making out right outside her door. Don't contact me again, or I'll post that video online and let everyone see what a cheating scumbag you are. If you need someone to take care of you, go find Lila. She's the one who used my address for return fraud and got that delivery driver fined. She's the reason you got hurt. If I were you, I'd hold on to her tight with your face all messed up like that. You'll never find anyone else willing to put up with you." I hung up before he could reply and blocked his number on all my devices. During her police interrogation, Lila insisted she'd just been greedy and hadn't meant to hurt anyone. She claimed she'd been scared the stores would come after her, so she'd used Eleanor's address without thinking. Her actions didn't constitute a criminal offense, so she avoided jail time. Instead, she was ordered to pay $30,000 in disability compensation to Ethan, as well as full restitution to all the stores she'd scammed. When the Carters learned Lila was responsible for Ethan's injuries, they were furious but also desperate. They knew Ethan would never find another wife now that he was disfigured, so they approached the Reeds with a deal. If Lila married Ethan, they'd drop all charges and forgive the $30,000 debt. Lila's reputation was already ruined, and no one else would have her. The Reeds agreed immediately. $30,000 was a lot of money, and with their strong son preference, sacrificing their daughter's happiness to avoid paying it seemed like a great deal. But Lila refused. She turned on her pick-me-girl act, crying to Ethan, "Ethan, we can't be together, it would hurt Eleanor too much. You should get back together with her. She's so smart and she loves you so much, the only one good enough for you." Ethan thought she was being sincere. He grabbed her hand tightly and said firmly, "Don't worry, Layla. I already broke up with that gold-digging bitch Eleanor. From now on, we can be together openly." Lila looked up at Ethan's scarred, disfigured face, and a wave of fear and disgust washed over her. She jerked her hand away violently, shaking her head. "No. You belong to Eleanor, not me." Mrs. Carter saw right through her. She slapped Lila hard across the face, screaming, "Stop acting like you care. When my son was handsome, you were all over him, throwing yourself at him even though you knew he had a girlfriend. Now that he's disfigured because of you, you want to leave. Not a chance." She grabbed Lila's wrist tightly and tried to drag her away. Lila pulled free and hid behind her mother, screaming through tears, "Mom, Dad, I won't marry him. I'd rather die." Mrs. Carter put her hands on her hips and said coldly, "Fine. If you won't let your daughter marry him, then you owe us $30,000, every last penny, and if you don't pay, I'll go to the city and tell your son and his wife everything about what their precious sister did." Lila tugged at her parents' sleeves, crying, "Mom, Dad, please pay them. Just give them the money." Mr. Reed, who favored his son above all else, had no intention of spending 30,000 of his savings, and he certainly didn't want his son involved in this mess. His face hardened, and he shoved Lila roughly toward Mrs. Carter. "Take her, we don't have any money. And you're not going anywhere near my son." Mrs. Carter grabbed Lila's wrist so tightly she couldn't break free. Tears streamed down Lila's face as she turned to Ethan, pleading, "Ethan, it hurts. Please tell her to let go of me, by now." Ethan had seen Lila's true colors. The disgust and fear in her eyes had broken his heart completely. He stared at her blankly, saying nothing. Mr. and Mrs. Carter dragged the screaming, sobbing Lila to their car and forced her inside. And with that, Layla Reed's miserable, hopeless life began.